evening, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Got Kip and Peter with me. Peter and Cookie with me this evening. As far as we know, we've had in touch from Kip, and he's fine. It's just not eating and stuff like that proper at the moment. So I just thought I'd get that out there straight away. Tell you that he's, as far as we know, he's fine.
Yeah, he's still alive. He isn't. He did not have an epileptic seizure, and he's probably having a good night at his girlfriend's now. So, Kip, if you're listening, hope you're doing well, mate. And if you want, you're always welcome to join, of course, like everybody is.
Yeah. With that, I'll say good evening, Cookie. How are you this evening?
Hello, mate. Sorry, I was muted just so I didn't interrupt the screen share. Yeah, I'm cool, thank you. I hope you're alright. Knackered again. I've got to get up early doing stuff again as well, so won't be a late one for me again.
Yeah,
Same here, Cookie.
Same here. I'm not planning on very late this evening. I've got a lot to do tomorrow, and I've not been in bed, sleep proper for 2 days, so just thought I'd just come on here and let everybody know that Kit was alright, and just have a general chit chat really amongst ourselves. And if anybody wants to join us, the link is actually in the description box on the page you're actually watching now. So, as we say, you're welcome to join.
Yep.
Anybody got anything you want to chat about at the moment?
Well,
anything struck you this week?
What somebody posted in the chat box is quite interesting. I knew they'd started doing a kind of pay-per-view system where on YouTube where you could pay to watch movies and stuff like that, but now they're talking about introducing a kind of donation system built into the YouTube architecture. And as people are pointing out, does that mean like you're going to get a situation where it's going to cost you to subscribe to somebody's channel?
Do you know?
Or certain videos, yeah, of a channel.
It's just getting stupid now, isn't it? It's because they know that people are turning now to alternative media to get proper up-to-date news, more reliable sources. They're stamping on it. They don't like it, do they? It's like they've done with Magna Carta here now. He's clocked on that people are using the Magna Carta and the law of the land. So he's mentioned starting to teach it at schools. Well, is it going to be taught proper? You know what I mean?
Yeah, or they have enough of an audience to make it a commercial viable business.
I find the timing quite interesting as well, because the like you were talking about earlier this afternoon, the ATVOD situation with the UK column.
Right.
Yeah, but them bringing in that legislate. I mean, if you go and look at the ATVOD site and whatever, you can see when they actually started. You know, it isn't that long ago, and it all coincides with the rise of this kind of popularity of using social media in this way. So they're getting into this, doing their usual of stepping in to demand their pound of flesh, their license fees and whatever. So I can see that spreading like crazy across YouTube and other social media sites. And I can remember how many years ago it was when they started doing it, 2 or 3 years ago, when Facebook started charging money for you to promote your page and to share certain links about your page, stuff like that.
Right.
I don't know if you knew that you can promote and they just charge you a little fee to do it, like advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's reached GooTube.
GooTube.
Yeah. It's
the money. One and the same, isn't it?
I can't.
That's why I call it GooTube, because it is like the Google-based thing. So,
look, I can understand from a commercial point of view that they want to make some money out of this, and I can see a donation scheme work, like it would work like in a Kickstarter or but also there when it reaches a certain level it gets dangerous, I think.
Yeah.
Popularity will kill you.
Yeah. And there'll be the kind of third party businesses that will spring up out of it as well. Because I mean, as we talked about before, that you've already got the situation where there are people paid to mess around on social media to either shill or troll or whatever.
Yeah.
When you start bringing in this kind of system, that will become an actual full-blown part of the economy. You know, it'll be another business sector in the economy. There'll be companies that you pay to promote your channel to help you earn money and shit like that.
Yeah, so it's pretty much taking out the innocence of donation.
Yeah.
It's sad, but
I
yeah,
hear,
it's a business.
can you remember that radio station, Cookie, a long time ago? Pirate radio station. It was, I think it was on the English Channel, on a boat.
Trying to remember the name of it.
Carolina?
No, it doesn't ring a bell. It was something else, but I know there's been a few of them, hasn't there?
Yeah, we also had one in Holland. They just sail in international waters, I think.
Radio Luxembourg, was it? That was one of them.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I remember that one, yeah. I remember coming across that one.
A lot of commercial channels came out of that. What are commercial channels now? So they were one of the first guys to go up against the mainstream or the BBCs and the Dutch state TV, and so they got an audience, and I think I don't know what point you're trying to make. So please continue.
I was what it was. I've seen in the conversation today somebody on about Google. They're offshore and they don't end up in the laws. But I was just wondering whether you knew anything, Cookie, because I couldn't actually find out in short time I've looked about the licensing on offshore. I thought they'd brought something in about that after the pirate radio stations. That was the point I was going to make about it.
It's probably based on what frequencies are used, because to simplify it, they claim ownership of all potential frequencies, and then they license out bandwidths to service providers. So the radio stations have to purchase a license from them to be able to broadcast on a certain frequency.
Yeah.
Right. As far as I know, the way it used to work back in the day when you had that kind of classic pirate radio out on a ship somewhere, was if you went a certain distance offshore, you're outside the national territory, you're in international waters, and there that kind of legislation didn't count, because it's sort of like the no man's land between nation states. But how that stands now, I'm not sure. I seem to remember that they did change the legislation so that basically if you try to broadcast from anywhere, you're supposed to have a license.
Yeah, the FM frequencies are all licensed, I believe. So.
Yeah, I was just, that was the point I was getting across to. I was just wondering whether, because somebody made the point that they'd be under a different law, or wouldn't be on the law, somewhere around them lines.
I believe on long wave it's a bit different, but I'm not sure about that. So that has to do with international shipping and certain kind of emergency backbone communication facility. So they have to leave that a little bit open, but you cannot broadcast a radio show on AM or on long. That sounds horrible. That sounds like shit.
Ollie Mick was just saying a lot of Radio 1 DJs started off on Radio Caroline.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what killed it. That's kind of what maybe gonna happen then with the YouTube, the financial gain and the commercialization is gonna kill it.
Yeah, it'll shed like mad, like crazy.
Yeah, if you cannot opt out, it's gonna be difficult to.
It's gonna. He's gonna do what they want, really, and he's gonna stamp it out.
You'll get buried by money.
Yeah.
In the same way as the kind of referring to like online gaming kind of stuff, it's the same kind of stuff they've been bringing in with the micropayment systems, where they can generate a virtual economy within game worlds. But it means that whoever has the most real world money, even though it's still fiat paper shit, dominates the game world. Because they can just buy everything up. They buy the best equipment, the best weapons, whatever the particular game style is, yeah. And in the same manner, we'll see that effect spread across YouTube, because you'll get stifled by the big money players.
And it's already happening. If you look at Spotify or other music streaming services, they also use podcasts made by people who have no commercial gain whatsoever, and they just plant commercials in front of themselves.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, and you get nothing out of that.
Yeah.
And they get so, and they are licensing. That's being written into law as well. So there is some licensing going on that level, and it's very scary. That's shutting up or commercializing free speech.
Yeah.
Why have you only done it to them and not to, like, just example, like Young Turks and so on? You know what
Because
I mean?
they already are commercialized free speech. That isn't free speech. That's corporate free speech.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but that's also with the Daily Show, and that's also with all media out there, I believe. There isn't independent media, and there isn't hardly any in the alternative either. So, but that's my opinion. Because alternative media is media as well, and there's a lot of people who have commercial interest in that. It's a market. It's a lot of people you can cater to. You can sell stuff to. So of course they have interest in the alternative media. Yeah.
I've just noticed Stevie's joined us. Evening, Steve. You all right, buddy?
Hello. Hi there, folks. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, fine.
Good. Hello there, Dean. Hi there, Pete. Cookie. Good to be on the show.
Welcome, mate. Welcome anytime. Like I say, it's open to everyone, and anyone wants to join. The link's actually in the description box if you want to join us. Even if it's just say hello and sit and listen.
Yeah,
Sorry
nice.
about
that. I didn't want to interrupt. I'll just sit and listen to catch up on what you're talking about. So yeah.
It's just.
I think the commercialization of free speech, what appears to be going on the YouTube.
Yep.
That's the basic thing what we're talking about.
Yeah, at the moment it's just how it's all folding out at the moment. How they're sort of like cutting our legs off, really, aren't they? Sorry.
I was just
I've been checking out this with the UK stuff. It's
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, we didn't hear that, Stevie. Sorry, mate.
I think we've got a bit of lag or something. I'll just have to get used to the broadcast.
No problem, mate. Sorry, Cookie, you were saying, mate?
Yeah, I was just thinking.
I was watching the. Oh, sorry.
It's alright. It is that lag effect because like you're over on the continent and I'm here, so you're getting that delay effect. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, it seems like a nice idea that they're giving us this possibility to have, for example, like the Patreon system, where people can donate to you to help you, support you doing what you're doing. But in effect, we can already do that anyway. But people can have donate buttons on their own little blog sites and whatever. And I think that's sort of like the typical friendly gesture to make it seem like they're doing something in favour of the real YouTube users, how the original remit was of this is public broadcasting. Yeah, but they're just doing that to placate people, because they know as soon as they implement this kind of stuff, you're just going to get saturated with the big money players. You'll still be allowed to do what you do, but you'll get cul-de-sac further and further and further away from any kind of public view.
Yeah. So sort of like milk. I'm waiting for like. I don't understand how they can pull you and say it's too television like. I mean, they're not only doing, like they said on UKIP, they're not only doing like news pods like that. They're actually looking at individuals as well from their own home.
Yeah, okay, but you have to realize everything is licensed. So also the way stuff looks. So when you put two presenters together in behind a desk and in a stage or in a setting, then you already have a TV-like broadcast. So that's if you make it look like the Daily Show, you're gonna get problems with the Daily Show. If you're gonna make it look like, I don't know, Saturday Night Live or whatever show, you're gonna get problems with that. Everything is licensed.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
No. Yeah. So don't try just blatantly copy stuff from people that don't want their stuff to be copied. And apparently there is a firm out there that's trying to rake in on that, but that doesn't mean that you, as soon as you get a letter or like that, you cave in and you pull your channel. That's ridiculous. I've seen no grounds on what they presented on that UK channel. Yeah.
I keep calling it UKIP, me.
Yeah, me too. I'm sorry for that, but no, UK column. So, but I see no grounds why they pulled the YouTube channel, other than attention or.
No, it weren't you, Peter, calling it UKIP. It was me. I keep calling them UKIP. I don't know why. Just a quick one as well. They're on about Kip in the chat room. People who's just joined. Kip's fine. He's just he wasn't having epileptic fit. He hasn't got any epileptic problems whatsoever, as far as we know. Kip did actually speak earlier on. We spoke to his girlfriend. He's fine over there having dinner. He's just not been sleeping and eating correctly. So I just put the rumours on the ad now that he's not had an epileptic fit. But yeah, sorry Peter. Sorry for interrupting you there, mate. I just had to tell him that. I was reading the comments as well, you see, as I'm chatting. Yes,
no problem.
He's fine. He just doesn't eat proper, that's his problem. He gets too indulged into what he does and gets overtired, and obviously your body's going to take it. So at some stage it has to pack in on you. And that's what happens when you dig in too deep. You never know when your body's just going to say, I've had enough. Isn't that right, Peter?
Yeah, and it does put on a certain amount of stress and anxiety when you're doing a live broadcast anyway, so.
Yeah. It's like, see, with us chat, we were trying to run around, find out about Kip and that, so we haven't really prepared for this evening, so it was just a general chit-chat, and just going to be a quick show, really, because we haven't prepared whatsoever, not looked at anything. And mostly, Kip and Peter covered most of it during the day as well, anyway. And it'd be just like, not fair on Peter to keep repeating everything.
Well, most of the stuff we don't prepare, but it's not like that we do a rehearsal or that we have talk about stuff elaborately before the show. But the does go a lot of research and preparation, and it goes into this stuff. It's hours and hours of clicking through links and also forming an opinion and trying to formulate that opinion, and and that's hard work. Maybe it's a little bit underestimated, but and we've been doing it. No, well, Kip has been doing it for days and days and days. Now, so it's hard work.
He has a break, and then he jumps in really deep again, doesn't he? And then just burns himself out again. It's mad.
Yeah, and then when you don't take care of your body, and then it can get to you. That's kind of what happens, or what happened. So too little sleep and too little food isn't good.
That's it. You can't burn the candle at both ends, can you?
No.
People in the chat room are suggesting that somebody should come into the chat room and demand an answer, but I think you've given a good answer anyway. So. I mean, people are welcome to come in, but
Well, Kip is welcome to join in, but he's probably still at his girlfriend, so.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was fast asleep by now, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's Anna that said that, wasn't it, Cookie?
Yeah.
Someone barged into the hang out there and demand an answer. No, it was just all I'd done. I was reading the comments as Peter were talking. I like keeping up with what's going on in the chat room as well. I'd just seen people commenting that it looked like an epileptic fit, so I just thought I'd bring it on my head and tell you exactly what had happened, or more or less, as far as we know. And we do know.
It sounded a bit awkward through the microphone, and he passed out. That's what happened.
We demand evidence.
But if you also listen, I asked him to shut down the show and mute up. It took a while, but he did. Took a couple of seconds to get back up. And we, I believe it was Days or Dean who got into contact with his girlfriend, and all went from there. And the case was solved in like 5 minutes after the show. We knew he was all right and everything was fine, and he's gonna be back soon.
Yeah. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He'll be back.
Yeah. For sure.
Get to the chopper. and there's people sort of commenting in the chat room. Don't stress about it, folks. We know people were concerned and wanted to know what was happening and stuff like that. No, I was only being sarcastic when I was saying about demanding stuff.
No, we were having a joke with it, Anna. We're not taking your words wrong. We're just, it's just our humour. That's all.
Look, he's fine, so we can laugh about it now. So it's okay. All's good.
But it does make a good point, as you've said, as you've mentioned, that you can get drawn into this kind of thing, and it will have a kind of OCD effect on you, or some people. And you've got to be able to step back away from it. You've got to be able to pace yourself. Otherwise, you saturate yourself so much, you'll wear yourself out, you'll make yourself paranoid and fearful, and you'll lock yourself away, and you'll just obsess on looking at this stuff. You'll try and do it 24/7, all that kind of shit. Yeah,
and your brain takes a lot of energy to do that, so...
Yeah.
It hurts as well.
It's surprising that how energetic it is to actually think about things.
I found obviously with being in building trade, I did a lot of strenuous working, physical work all the time, but I find staring at computer screens and researching and things like that, or even driving, I find that more tiring than labour, really.
Yeah, it's a hypnotic effect.
Yeah, you sort of like go into a trance, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
MK Ultra.
It's all the triangles that keep flashing at you, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, don't mention that. I pointed out to friends today, shopping local town. It's a skateboard shop, and they've actually got the pyramid with the eye in the middle of it, X'd on the window, and they've got it above the shop as well. I just walked past, so I went to these. I went, yeah, Illuminati. Where? I said, right in fucking front of you there, window.
It's part of the subculture at the moment, right? So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that somewhere like a skate shop would sort of cash in on the subculture, or in an unaware fashion, just utilise it because it's a currently trendy kind of logo, you know.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised though, that there is quite a lot, even though, I mean, this is a common topic that comes up consistently anyway. There's that pop culture version of stuff, and certainly in recent times that kind of pop culture image of this kind of information has been propagated and deliberately played on to create fashion trends to be commercialised. You know, you could talk about the Illuminati music industry and all that kind of shit, but it is actually to me, it is anyway reassuring that there are a lot of people out there who are in that kind of media environment, whether they be musicians or artists or whatever, that do genuinely look into this information and do carry the information and share the knowledge. So yeah, I'd be interested to just pop in the shop and ask them. It might be a brand name or something like a logo for a brand name or something.
Yeah, I believe that's why Kip calls Mark Dice the Illuminati fashion reporter. Because that's what he does. He reports on the pop culture wearing that shit all the time.
That's all sorry, Peter.
No, that's it. That's the whole point.
That's all he ever goes on about, isn't it? Mark Dice, and then he does that stupid show on Street. He's just a money man, isn't he? He reminds me a bit of Alex Jones, just a showman, a money man.
Well, that's a bit what it is. It's so out there now, and people think this is fringe or something, but it's long past that, and a lot of people know about this or have seen this pass by on YouTube. So it's a commercial business now. You can make money on the Illuminati logo. That's it. It's dead. And secret societies are secret. We don't know who is the Illuminati.
Exactly.
We don't know who is MI5 because MI5 it's not a secret organization. MI6 isn't. Yeah. Maybe MI7, but that would be obvious. So I don't know what name they have, but there is a secret organization out there doing all the same shit that the regulated MI5 is not allowed to do anymore. They are still allowed to do because nobody knows about them. So that's what the secret society is, the same shit. So keep your focus on the Illuminati all you want, but then you're turning a blind eye, wink, 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 to the real Illuminati, and that's those are the guys we never hear about. And that's it's not even Bilderberg, or it's not even the Queen.
That is another layer that I think a lot of people, certainly when we're talking about that kind of subculture environment use of it, the kind of trendy use of it, they're not aware of that layer of it. It is exactly that point. This is the one-eyed man leading you because you're all blind because you keep staring at this triangle with an eye in it and you go wherever it leads.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they propagate that, they play on that. The Illuminati, another kind of analogy I use is the Illuminati stuff, the majority of it, the vast majority of it, is very much like Area 51. Area 51 is not the place where they keep all the super secret tech because they tell you about it and they actively allow people to come and, investigate it. It's their fake shop front to keep you distracted.
I believe so very much, yeah. Definitely. And I think the Mark Dice characters, to me they are characters, actors, and that's not a real name. It's a fake name. I don't believe it. That's even real. But whatever, he's selling selling the book on the basis of the so-called Illuminati. If it wasn't for the Illuminati, he wouldn't have a book. He wouldn't have his way onto the Illuminati dollar bill with the Illuminati triangle or the tower and the pyramid and the one all-seeing eye. And that's what he's all about. And it's so obvious and so transparent, and that's why I sometimes get a bit short-winded on certain people, you know, because it's so out there. I don't get that people don't see the obvious.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, and most of those people would call themselves truthers or be the people who are awake. I'm awake. I know the Illuminati. You know, and yeah, and I'm just well, okay, you know the Illuminati, but then what? Then you're just at the top bottom of the pyramid, basically. Then your journey starts, and then you find out, okay, it's a little more complicated than that. You know.
Yep.
It's yeah. It takes time, I think, to get to that level. You have to go through all those stages of, oh, what's this? Hey, what's, you know?
Yeah, that's why I say to people, yeah, it's a valid thing to learn about, find out about it, definitely, but don't think that's where it stops. You know, and there's lots of topics like that. Like recently, I was chatting on the messages, saying to somebody the same thing with Rome. I know I'll often mention the kind of the three city principle, the rings of power, the Rome, London, and Washington, and whatever. But it doesn't stop there. They're just power bases of a particular cadre or group of groups that work together on doing this shit. They aren't the ultimate end destination of you finding out about this stuff.
No, that will be just an oversimplification of things. You know?
Which again,
it's
part of what they want you to do. It's like, oh, you're looking in our direction. Here, look at this straw man. Attack that. Ignore me. I'll be off back into the shadows again while you're attacking this.
Yeah. Look, I don't hold the truth. I don't believe you hold the truth. But it's people like Alex Jones and other alternative media that bring on people that supposedly tell the truth. Listen to this guy because he knows what's real. This is, you know, and it's not like that. It's bullcrap. It's just one side of the story. That's the first. So it's just one-sided. There's never opposite noise, or hardly, at the Alex Jones channel. So he's playing the same tricks as the mainstream does, who never put opposites next to each other.
Just looking at Sky News, I've just seen that I've been out today. I've been round Bolton Town Centre. But I'm just trying to catch up on news as you're talking as well, and see Ukraine signed EU deal.
Yeah, Ukraine and Georgia and one other country.
Yeah. See, I don't watch news, so I get a little bit out of touch. I just like now and then I'll pop in and read a lot myself, but I try and stay away from it. I do more digging than I do reading news. I mean, 'cause I find most of them, I look at them as though they're just playing games to keep you busy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's how I look at it. So when a lot of time when you're talking about news and that, I'm quiet because truthfully I'm not quite up on what you're talking about. Because it's like I did a lot when I started. I did more on I started on the Illuminati. Actually, it was passed to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, obviously, at first it looks alright, doesn't it, when you're first reading about it, because of that false thing that they put up in front of you. I got about a few chapters into it, a few pages into it, whatever, Well, I just shut it down, really, and I just started hunting net after that. I fell upon Kip and that. And then I just started going from there then. I ended up at Bilderberg. And ever since then, it's just been an headache.
Yeah, welcome to my world. Well,
You know what I mean?
it does get easier, indeed.
It's like, I mean, first 12 months, I'd say I went in too deep, too heavy, too much, reading too much, watching too much.
Yeah.
Well, in 6 months, I did 20,000 videos.
Yeah, then it turns into a shitstorm, and that's not good, man.
Yeah, everything's jumbled up in your head.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
too
like,
much.
having a break off it, sort of like putting you back on a level. So it's like you said the other night, Cookie, you've got to ground yourself now and then.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ground yourself, you get way too deep and stop looking after yourself, start losing weight, sat here for days upon days in front of a computer screen without going to bed. And it just gets fucking stupid, really, doesn't it? That's
I'd say again as well, that's part and parcel of the game that's being played on you, the psyops that's being played on you.
Yeah.
Because by giving you this massive amount of mix-up of information, this does happen to some people, they will destabilise people enough that they will actually cause them some kind of breakdown or episode, like an initiation of a mental issue that may have been latent in them, like schizophrenia and stuff like that. And they do deliberately play on that kind of shit. That's the kind of Tavistock mentality of social engineering, of let's just completely fry his brain like Clockwork Orange style, and then we'll be able to rebuild his psyche in a manner, into a mould that we want. It's that kind of Manchurian Candidate programming. And even though obviously something like the Manchurian Candidate, NK Ultra, stuff like that, that's an exceedingly intense operation, but they do it on a subtle, gentle, using that word very loosely, drip effect via this internet environment. The TV is a stronger example of it because of the way it's structured, of having a limitation on it. It's quite a focused way of doing it. But the internet is used for that kind of shit as well. So again, you want to be careful to pace yourself, balance yourself, ground yourself, and build up the muscle, basically build up the muscle to deal with the amount of load that you're trying to take on. There's a Doe path in one of the forms of Buddhism. I can't remember which particular school it is that does this. A Doe path is a path to enlightenment. So if you fulfill all the requirements of it, you should supposedly at the end of it be considered an enlightened one or an ascended one. But where they subject themselves to standing under a heavy waterfall, and they do this repeatedly, they do it thousands of times for years at a time. They go every day and they subject themselves to standing in this waterfall and meditating in it, and that kind of stuff. And in the same manner, this stream of information that you're trying to dive into, it will have that same kind of bombarding effect on you. You're trying to carry the weight of the world. Sometimes some people fall into that of, trying to carry the weight of the world, to build up the muscle to deal with it. Don't be so egotistical that think that you can take on this massive amount of stuff, which is the infinity of all information and knowledge of what is this reality, etc., and not be borne down by it. It will wear you down. So find a balance, find a pace, build up your muscle. That way you'll be able to, I feel, more successfully gather the information, gather the knowledge, and be able to process it in some manner. You may not come to a conclusion or find a end to the question that you're asking, but you'll at least be able to process that information and pass it on to other people. If the classic, the silliness, I've often mentioned it, the kind of truth bukkake effect. When you first learn about something and you want to tell somebody else because it's like you've just been told a secret. A secret has just been revealed to you, and you've got this inner urge that you have to tell somebody else about this thing, this topic, this whatever it is, this conspiracy theory or cult knowledge or whatever. And the first unfortunate person you meet, and you're just like, blah, 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 yeah, and you're trying to tell them all this stuff, and they're just like taking a step back, and their eyes are getting wider. They're like, whoa, yeah, it's that kind of effect.
Guilty.
Yeah. That, for me, I mean, I don't know, I'm not trying to say that I've been through this and I've done it and I've solved it all and whatever. No, not at all. It's still an ongoing process for all of us, I feel. But I found that balance of trying to look at the information, look at this stuff for myself, think about it for myself, process it a bit, so that then when I do talk to somebody about it, I'm not doing that just unload effect on them. I'm actually able to go, okay, have you thought about this? Have you seen this evidence? Have you heard that argument, etc.? So you can actually pass on the information in a more, a better way that somebody could actually learn something from it. Yeah, they might disagree with what I say to them, but hopefully at least some part of what I've said to them carries a few bits of information and knowledge that they can learn from, benefit from.
Yeah. Well, what I've started doing is, if they say, like, mention something, I'll just say, if you want me to know truth, just look into such and such a thing. And then when you see me again, this is what we're doing with taxi drivers when they were bringing up subjects. I said, just look into this, look into the background. And I said, there's my email. I said, just tell me what you think. Maybe you still think the same after you've looked into this. And they're all like, wow, you got any more on this? I said, well, just do what I do, just search. Whatever's in your head, type it into a computer, you get some sort of response of whatever you type in. And whatever comes up is going to cover whatever you're thinking at that time. And that's what I started doing, just typing stuff in like that. Like things that I'd cut from past. After I'd started looking at this, started clicking, you know what I mean? So it's like typing into a computer. Start looking into the background of it and realising, yeah, that was fucking that was this. 9/11, I sat there, me actually at work, we watched it. I actually sat there, me, turned round to them all in canteen and said, them two have just been blown up. All that, looking at me, nah, them planes are just, I said, you're thick as fuck if you believe them have just fucking fell down with them planes. So it's not happened. I said, we had a guy that did demolition, Victorian style, Fred Dibner. I actually met the guy, I'd been to his house, I was in his back garden with his steam engines and all that crap. I had boiler suits on, helping him out. And I followed him about when he did his demolitions, and I knew how buildings fell and what work went into them to make them fall into the footprint. And he was a master at what he did. Very good fucking demolition expert. And that's what made me click straight away that they'd been blown up. Or along them lines of being blown up. There was no impossibility that two planes could have brought them down. And it's been proved after with big buildings that have burnt for 48 hours. And all that were left with the steel frame of them.
Yep.
The steel frame was still stood there. You know what I mean? What they're saying, the steel got that weak or not, that the concrete weight brought it down. No, not a chance. And I understand it more by erecting scaffolding and things like that, you know what I mean? You get more how to balance your weight and things like that just on scaffolding. And you understand weight stress and things like that, you know. And they're actually built scaffolding where you've got a tank drive across a bridge, what we built out of scaffolding. So it's like 80-ton tank driving across a scaffolding, you wouldn't expect that, would you? I cannot see them two buildings coming down with two planes. Full stop. I know it's an old subject and it'll be going on for donkey's years, but it's just going round and round and round in circles until they finally admit, which I don't think they will, unless they do it 30 years from now. Well, what is it, 30 years, is it? And then the documents are released, is it? If there is any documentation on it.
It varies slightly of the document, like its secrecy level. Plus, and this here in the UK, I'm not sure how it works in the USA, but here in the UK, if they want to keep something secret forever, they basically just reclassify it again and again and again and again, and it never gets released.
Or redact it to fuck. And say it's released. So what you get is a black page and the word "the."
Hey,
sorry, I was just looking in the chat room.
Can you?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I was just trying to log in, and again, I don't know how much lag I've got and how we can work out how much lag it is. So I'll just do my best. But it's a bit weird sometimes, I think. I don't know.
Maybe when you count to 3 and when you say 3, I say 3 also.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so yeah. That's not too bad.
Okay.
That's not too bad. So I'm here. Yeah. Cool.
Crack on, Steve. It's on mic. Crack on. Just whatever you want to talk about, talk. Whatever it's entirely up to you.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to introduce yourself and your channel?
I could do, yeah. I'm Steve Turgoose. Nobody can seem to pronounce my second name, even all the Turgooses that live in the world. Yeah, I've got a channel. You probably find it in the links box. I like to talk about the truth. I like to just talk from my heart. I get kind of a bit fed up of watching all these shows that always seem to be making a show out of stuff where, you know, we get together on shows like this and just make it realistic. It's very realistic, and I think the audience can see that realism. And I think that's the new generation of media that we are kind of pioneering in a way. We are like kind of pioneers of self-embarrassment, you know, social suicide, if you like. And so that's why I'm here. You know, I've been following a lot of the shows that you've been doing over the last few weeks. I haven't been commenting a lot. I like to sit and watch. And it's been interesting, you know, watching Kip and these different events and different incidents that have been happening, and today's little incident. And I think, you know, the realism of it all, being able to see that you guys, you know, that you guys are real, and that there's mistakes going on. I think there's more importance to see somebody being real than to see somebody relay information. So that's really sort of looking in between the spaces. You know, I don't really care too much about one or the other political thing, like we were just talking about 9/11. You know, to me, it's very much a media incident. You know, if it didn't happen on the media, I wouldn't see it. So it's very based in the media, like a lot of the other political things, propaganda, and so it's about looking at how the media transports the message. I feel. And that has to be done with genuine authenticity, and that means making mistakes. It means being realistic, having, you know, just sitting in your chair and doing your thing. So, you know, we see it with the UK economy. It's such an irony because they say, you know, they're getting accused of being too television-like, and it was for me very it is very television-like, and I liked that aspect. But at the same time, it loses a little bit of that genuine authenticity. I'd like to see Brian Gerrish sing a song, or fall asleep, or collapse at his desk, putting in so much work. No offence, I mean, I feel like a bit of a hypocrite. They do a good effort to research the news. They do a fantastic effort, but if there's holes in something, it has to be found. It has to be found. So yeah, I'll just leave it there. 5 seconds lag.
Well, wonderful points you bring across there, and I totally agree. Yeah, it is media. It is. Yeah, it's all show.
Did you watch the ones they put up yesterday and today? The one of them in the car, and then the one of them today around the kitchen table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I much prefer that.
Yeah, it was fantastic to watch. The only thing is they're always making this joke about being too television-like, and I think in a way that was fun at first, but in a way they should just start getting real. I mean, they do a good job, but to leave away the sarcasm, they're not. It sometimes doesn't work. It sometimes deflects from the real object of the game. Well, game.
Yeah, I know what you mean, right? They're constantly referring to King Cameron and stuff like that. It's like, look, yeah, you've said that joke so often there. It's no way funny anymore. Maybe it's just because I've been watching you for too long. It might be funny to somebody new to it, but I've heard you say it so often. Yeah, just get on with what you're supposed to be doing.
It does. I mean, it's like I said, there is a lot of work they put into it, and it does look like a lot at times a TV show. But I mean, where are they going to stop in saying it's a TV show? Because we're showing links now on Google Show, which is an app that they put on for us to use on live shows. Are they now going to say that we are a news event because we're talking about the news?
Yeah, well, I think then thinking about memes or putting out memes is already one step that we wouldn't make. So if you repeat something often enough, it sticks, and that's basic advertising. But yeah, they're creating a meme with words and memes with themes they address. I don't know. Look, yeah, information is information, and you should take the information that's in it, and leave the whole personality shit out of it. It's not about them. It's not about UK column. It's about the information you bring out, and I don't give a shit how you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If I feel right, if I only could do this like sitting here in my underwear, and that would be the only way to do it, I would have do it. I would not point the camera down, but but if that would make me comfortable to do it, then I would do it. I don't give a shit. Because it's not about me. It's about but I'm just interested in voicing my opinion. Yeah. Because I think I have a different opinion than a lot of the shit that's out there. And I try to comment in the comment box, and mostly I get slammed by fucking Twitter trolls.
I think you should start a new mini-series, so like bulletins from the toilet.
Yeah, and I think it's sad and depressing because these people mean well a lot of times. Today I was watching, yesterday was a video of Jamois, the colored woman. Well, she put out a video about chemtrails, or what she thought was chemtrails. Okay, and in the description she said, "Can a meteorologist look at this and tell me what this is?" So I was looking at that video and I think, okay, there are databases on clouds and on cloud formations and on whatever, so you can look it up. So I looked it up, and I found what it was. And I posted that link, and I said it's because he said it was so depressing or so disgusting how the sky looked. And what she was actually looking at was a pretty rare phenomenon, which was a flame rainbow. And that doesn't happen all that often. And she was just fear porned into that fucking chemtrail shit. And I just think that's sad because you're missing out on a wonderful natural phenomenon. That's just why, you know. And the information is out there. You can look it up yourself. You don't need a fucking meteorologist telling you what it is. It took me like 3 minutes to find that, and to find an article about it, and a lot of pictures, beautiful pictures with similar cloud formations and light effects and rainbow effects. Yeah. But no, it was fear porn, and one commenter was like, yeah, you're ignorant, or you're just stupid, or blind, or not awake, or not aware, or whatever. I'm aware of chemtrails. I know those programs are out there, but what she was looking at wasn't chemtrails.
Yeah.
But okay. It's sad. It destroys your world, and it locks you up in your own home. It makes a prison of your own home, like that. Like she's afraid of the sky, and that just makes me sad. Even let them chemtrail the shit out of me, but I'm not gonna get them scare me into my own house, into my own little prison.
Yeah.
If it's really that disturbing, then fucking do something about it. And not whine about it or tell bullshit, but look at the facts. Look, it's that's sad. I just think that's depressing.
Yeah, I can't.
That's why I'm here. That's why I voice my opinion. That's why I try to say my shit, and slam me for saying stupid shit. But I'm fine with that. I'm willing to adjust my opinion if I'm wrong.
Exactly.
Point me into the direction of the evidence, because I haven't seen it in a lot of cases, and it's a lot of shouting and pointing to other conspiracy sites, which is pointless. That's just running around in circles.
Yeah.
I don't know, but people don't get that somehow.
See, what I did for the chemtrail bit, I went and I looked at penance. Because every machine out there, people put penance in, they can't be copied. Cover all backs, obviously. And obviously it's a con for money and all that shit as well. But I found one, the first one that was actually put in for chemical spraying. It was in 1953.
Yeah.
It was from aviation. It was an aviation spraying tool. But like you said, there is evidence there to back up. But there's no point in doing scaremongering, because that's how you scare people away from the truth. And I don't see the point in that. You're going to eventually just scare them off, and I think that he's just...
I don't know. I just think it sounds good, and it's a good, just like the climate change fear porn. Look, somehow the conspiracy people are not buying into that. Nobody's willing to buy that. It's all carbon tax scammery, and I agree. But okay. But on the other hand, they are very willing to believe that they are being poisoned in a global geoengineering program that seems to be running since like forever. And I can show you pictures of 1927 of chemtrails. The additives they talk about, like the barium or polonium, whatever, found in those supposed chemtrails, is a additive in kerosene.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can get of barium is when you take in extremely high doses, elevated blood pressure. So also there they scare you into bullshit.
Yeah.
Maybe the real scam is that they put radioactive, a depleted radioactive atom in kerosene because they have to put it into a liquid or something because you cannot bind it into a solid or whatever, and that way get rid of it through the kerosene. They burn it off through the kerosene, and that way they can get rid of that element. It's a cheap way to get rid of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that then. But not, because that could be a problem, yeah. But nobody's talking about that, or nobody's, and that's on the EPA.gov fucking website. You can find that shit with all the numbers and side effects and how long they have been doing it. And so it's the same with the clouds. If you look beyond what you want to see, then okay. Yeah. But then you're stuck, and that's sad. That saddens me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry for the rant.
Oh, that's right. Well, that's what it's for, isn't it? Get it off your chest, isn't it, man? You know what I mean? It's. I just think climate change, what they keep talking about, it's just natural cycles of the planet. I mean, it's like, I don't know whether everybody's looped into pole shift as well. Evening, John. I just dropped back out again, I think. Good evening, mate. You alright?
What was he in a minute ago? Was he actually in?
Yeah, you popped in, then you dropped out and popped in.
Right, no, just the screen was blank. It was, I've just come in to I've only just really heard about Kip and stuff. I just left a message in the comments. Is he okay? Have anyone spoke to him?
Yeah, he's fine. We've not spoke, but we've had messages off his girlfriend saying he's over there eating. So. Right.
Well, that's a good thing because I just spammed back a moment ago just to see what had happened, and it didn't sound nice. Didn't sound nice at all.
I'm starting to wonder if this was all a hoax just for publicity.
Media.
Yeah.
Sympathy. I just want some
damn, you're on to us.
Yeah, anyway, hello to everyone. Hello, everyone.
Hello, you alright?
Yeah,
you want to chat about, buddy?
Say again, mate. Hi, Steve. You alright?
Anything you want to get off your chest from that?
News from the bong?
Well, the reason it's all gone pear-shaped for me, it's nothing to do with the fascism on the internet or the so-called fascism. I've had a bit of a nightmare lately. My computer packed up, my tablet packed up, so I went to buy a new laptop. The salesman was giving it the hard sell, so I just wanted to get out of there with something. I ended up buying a tablet for 130 quid, and I can't use my camera on it. So I have to use this, and I can't edit on it. So there's no intro to News at the Bong at the moment until I get a laptop. So apart from that, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Well, you're still here, so that's good.
Yeah, I've got some lovely. Anyway, you know what I like, don't you?
Yeah.
Dogs.
There's another thing as well. The same thing you like, Peter.
Oh, really?
Honestly, I've got something that's cured to perfection.
Dogs can be a natural remedy as well.
Yeah,
there's more evidence. Yeah, there's more evidence piling up that they can be a cure for depression, that they can sense cancer.
Yeah. They also go to like retirement homes and stuff like that to make people smile. They make old people smile, especially people like with dementia or anything like that.
Stroking a pet, or petting a pet, and that kind of thing releases serotonin, enables neuroregeneration. So in other words, it helps your brain grow new neural pathways, stuff like that. So yeah, definitely right. That's what I was saying. There's more evidence piling up that it's good for you to be a friend of animals. It is.
They can be a pain in the ass, obviously. Be a pain in the ass, but do you know, like you say, when you're petting, when you're stroking, and you're just spending time together, heart rate, blood pressure, everything drops. Everything drops, and it's all calming. It's a calming type thing. So.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know whether you've seen, but they started to give dogs to recovering squaddies and all that. You know,
for PTSD.
There's a thing in America. Have you seen that there was a program in America where it was something similar, where they was where they was using dogs in some sort of similar rehabilitation process. I can't think what it was called now. But really interesting, yeah. It's a good thing, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Cookie, there was something else actually, talking about dogs while we're still on the subject. I actually mulled over what we was talking about the other day, and I'm thinking maybe the perspective you was coming from, or maybe the perspective you've heard, would be more of the middle class perspective. Because what it is, or how I kind of thought about it is say, because you mentioned the suburbs, and that's why it's made me think about that, is, let's say, the more suburban areas copy the inner city areas, so they copy the style of dress, so like they copy the fashions. They obviously think, right, you know, we've got tough dogs, so it's all about looking tough, it's all about status, when it's not. We have tough dogs because we live in tough areas. You know what I mean? Like, I think I mentioned it had a ball of fluff, it'd be dead. So, but in the suburban areas, they don't. I think they just see it's a different take on it. It's more of a cool thing, and they think it's about status when it's not. When you actually live in the inner city, it's you have a tough dog, you live in a tough area, you know, with tough people. In the more suburban areas, it's like, oh, it's to look tough. When no, it's you have to be tough. You know, we have to live tough because that's how it is on the streets, but. In the suburban areas, I think it's more like, oh, it looks cool, you know, and it's about status and stuff. It's trendy. Like, if I get a staffy and I'm going to look tough, then, and I'm going to look like I've got status. But in the inner city, status doesn't come that easy. It doesn't. It really doesn't come that easy, you know. So I'm thinking about it. Maybe it's a suburban take on it or something.
Well, I would say not necessarily just suburban. Certainly, yeah, probably more. You'll find it more in a suburban area because usually they are the middle class or aspiring middle classes. Yeah. Therefore, they are the demographic that most desires money, chases money, and that kind of trend reflects. Me coughing at you, sorry. Reflects money. So for them, yeah, it's like, I have this dog, it means I present this kind of imagery. I'm a wannabe gangster and all that kind of shit. Yeah, I got me bling. Yeah.
Just 1 second, I've got to let it out. 1 sec.
I keep talking to me when I'm muted.
So yeah, that's what I've been thinking about really, because I came on quite passionate, and I didn't want to come across as too assertive, you know, overly assertive.
Don't stress about it. Don't stress.
I'm a polite chap, so I try to be anyway.
I do exactly the same when I get passionate about stuff. I will talk passionately about it. This is why, for me, a lot of certainly the past few years has been trying to rebalance what I was doing, because I started to realise that far too many of the people I was trying to talk to were perceiving me as being very preachy and self-righteous, because I would get in their face and I'd say, this is how it is, this is how it is. And it's, you know, yeah, I was trying to get a message across, but I can see how people would perceive that as being just like any other preacher stood on a podium wagging a finger at you. Yeah. And it's like, well, that's then creating that defensive effect, which means they're not going to look at the information I'm trying to show them, because they just feel like they're being shouted at.
Yeah, the message gets lost, doesn't it, somewhere in the translation of the communication. But that's, I didn't.
So for me,
I didn't just want to be overly assertive. I just really wanted to say, hang on a second, no. From where I live in the inner city, where you know, where I suppose where it is tough, it's a tough life, you know. So tough dogs are just it's like everything else. It's just like everything else.
Go
I
back
didn't
to
get my dog for that reason. She's you know, we bred these for years. We breeders more or less. So
go back to Victorian times, and it was a fairly common practice. Yeah, watch Oliver Twist again, and I know. Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name, but I know he mistreats the dog horribly and whatever. But you know, that was that kind of environment you're talking about. It's like, yeah, you live in a fucking rough area, man. Yeah. But no, I was talking about that kind of perception where you have this demographic of people that are gangster wannabes that are basically just following a cultural trend, a fashion trend, a pop trend. And for them, even though they may not be consciously aware of it, they're doing it because they think it presents them as having some kind of wealth or status. You know, for a lot of people, the way the propaganda and indoctrination affects them, it makes them obsess on that kind of stuff. You know, it's all about presenting an image, keeping up with the Joneses and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It is very
totally
middle class, yeah.
Very middle class, totally get that. Where for us, it's just life. It's just life. It's like, it's just normal. Like if you watch Oliver Twist now, you've mentioned it, you'll see, what's he called? Is it Bill Sykes?
Bill Sykes, yeah.
Bill Sykes,
Yeah.
And you'll see him walking through the back streets with bullseye off the lead, because they never had leads then, I suppose. But you know, his bullseye's walking about behind him. That's how I walk about. But I'm not. I haven't got like a collection of kids that I send out thieving. As much as I'd love a little, you know, a little gang of kids and that. Get out there, go and pickpocket, pickpocket the rich, not the poor.
Well, there's the chat room, mate. Go for it.
Get some
Got a
recruits.
pocket or two.
No, you're right. It's the middle class take. It's the middle class take.
Yeah.
I'm just going to nip to the toilet, guys. I'll be back in a second. Let me mute up.
I
can sort of waffle on part of the sort of like topic that's brought up from that. Is it comes back to that shouting at people is not a good way to help them learn something. You know, same as certainly for myself, I feel that ridicule also is not a good teaching tool. It's not a good way for people to learn, because they only learn through subjugating themselves, which means at some point there is a seed of resentment planted, which debases and dilutes the knowledge they're trying to learn. You know, so stuff like that. You know, the classic sort of angry, shouty, red-faced Texan man shouting at you is not a good way to get this kind of knowledge and information. That there's much better ways. People out there who present it in a much more accessible fashion, I feel, arguably. You know, that's what I've been trying to do more of recently, is trying to get across to people, look, if I speak at you in quite an assertive way, that's just the way I am. I have got somewhat of a strong ego, so I can come across as being very assertive, maybe a little bit aggressive, but that's just because I'm used to that kind of debate environment. That doesn't mean I'm preaching at you and telling you off and shit like that. It's like trying to get past that barrier so you can have a more genuine conversation with people is something I've been working on. And I think the truth movement, if there is any such thing within that limited descriptor, needs to get past that point as well. The shouting at people to wake up, it may work a little bit for some people, but really it's not going to get the message across to the majority, which is what we need to do. It's one of the reasons why I liked UK Column, because even though they talk about some quite heavy subjects sometimes, like the paedophilia and stuff like that, it's just the fact that they present it very matter of fact and calmly, and just like news presentation. You know, not that it's TV like, but it's not some shouty man shouting at you going rah. You know, that just doesn't really connect with a lot of people. Anyway, I'll stop waffling now. I've waffled enough.
That's fine, mate. It's, oh, John, you mentioned you mentioned chatbox earlier. Just want to say, Bass was asking how your dog is, presumably from the last time you were on when she got attacked.
Yeah, no, she's good. She was good the next day. She was good. Thanks for asking. No, thank you for asking. But no, she's a tough girl, and she did really well. She fought the dog off. To be honest, she fought it off. So, but she's a tough girl.
You put a video up the next day, didn't you?
Yeah. She was out in the park playing, wasn't she? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that cut on her head off the attack?
Yeah, she's got the one on the top and then one on the side. Because I think she's got more or less its arse end of it, by its arse or its back leg, and it's kind of span round and just bit down on her head or something. So it's that's when I had to join in. But hopefully it should be nice and quiet tonight with a bit of luck. You never know.
It's always
Thanks
quiet.
for asking, no Bass. Thank you for asking. She's a tough girl.
They caught your eye over week, John, haven't they? Who's out, got your gripe up, got your back up?
Everything gets me gripe up. But I think, what was we talking about earlier on about finding balance?
Yeah.
That's honestly, the whole reason I'm out amongst anything that's coloured green, and I spend my life, it's that's the whole reason, because that's my balance. That's my balance, because every time you switch the TV on, you read some information online, it just winds you up. It just winds you up. Or sometimes I think, I seen something the other day where there's an anonymous mask on some channel on YouTube. I think it's a Patriot channel in America. It's got 2 crossed AK-47s on it. Right, an anonymous mask with 2 crossed AK-47s. What's that all about? Hey, what's that all about? That's perceiving people as threats, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shit like that winds me up, because, is it going to get to the point where you can't even put one of them on in protest without fear of getting shot? Is that what it's going to lead to?
So that's part of what it was set up for.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I'd say so, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You want to escape the system? Well, here you go. Clone yourself so that we know who you are. So everybody looks the same. So it's like, right, okay, we know who all the troublemakers are now because you've just put this mask on that signifies that you're a troublemaker.
I like the idea of the mask coming from that movie and where that was referenced from with the original design, obviously. But I think just seeing that this week with the 2 crossed AKs was like, oh no, it's. I thought that was kind of a peaceful thing. Me, that mask, believe it or not, I thought that was a kind of a peaceful thing. And obviously, the powers that be had like, right, no, it's a threat. So what we're going to do is we're gonna market it like this now. So lots of stuff, and then you've got this UK column pulling all the videos and stuff. What's I'd like to hear what Peter's reaction is about that. Peter's normally got a good take on this. I think you've already had a pop at him, haven't you?
Oh, wait, well, let me rewind the tape.
No, but you see, I agree totally where you're coming from. I agree, because I think it's.
Yeah, it's one of the.
I don't watch a column as much as most people, to be honest. But
no, me neither. But I was on the Google Plus and on the YouTubes and it just caught my eye that in the comments somebody said, oh, they got pulled. So that's how it started basically, and so that caught my eye because that's not normal. That's not something YouTube would do, and I was thinking, why UK column? And then it took quite a long time before it came clear that they pulled their shit themselves. Yeah.
So the immediate perception was,
that
was
it
something
was that.
totally different.
Yeah.
So
They've
I
had
mean, that is,
since
how much can you
March.
trust a channel like that? Not like a
Well, the
They-
funny
they-
thing was they were doing a live broadcast while that supposedly was happening, while they were pulling their YouTube videos. And while I was watching that, because somebody posted the link, hey, look, there's still a live link on, they were not talking
They never
about it at
referenced it
all.
in the show. They
No,
didn't
no,
reference
nothing.
the fact
No,
that,
no.
this is happening.
Oh, we're
right now,
gonna
so
pull
we're
a
doing it.
YouTube channel. No, 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 not a word. No.
They've had since March to address it in some manner as well.
Yeah.
And even if they had announced it to the audience and said, like, we've been contacted by this group who are saying that we need to do this, that and the other, and they're going to have a tribunal to decide whether we are or are not breaking the rules, blah, blah, blah. And they could have been working towards dealing with it before it even got to this point.
Right. And it's a bit like what Kip said. They had way more viewers this time than they had last time, so it did help.
Maybe the viewing figures were, they just needed increasing a little bit, but it's just a fucking...
Yeah, well, you keep repeating certain memes because you cater to a new audience every time. Because you want, if you watched them from day one, you've heard all their jokes probably 10 times by now. But that's not because they're talking to you. It's because they're talking to their new audience, and they want to build an audience. Of course, they want to build an audience.
Yeah. It makes for good publicity as well.
Yeah, and that's TV like. We don't give a shit if there's an audience.
Do you remember that? Who was that? Who was that with now?
We've had it twice. We've had it
Was
twice.
that an argument with Dell and I think
Scott.
came from?
It was that night with Dell and Scott. It come up. We had to say we had to bring the point up that we weren't interested in money and people watching, that we'd actually sit here and just do this amongst ourselves, even if there were no. But we're happy that people do watch and do.
Because it's not about us. That's the main point, and yeah, that's the trap, I think. Because as soon as you make it about you, or I don't know. I just read the description of the Kevin Baker show recently. Okay, now I'm sorry, but that's like he's been doing this for 30 years and he's the next big Alex Jones and whatnot. Now, fine by me, but
I listened to approximately half of the interview he did with Patrick Henningsen, and then I couldn't put up with watching the rest.
The Prepper Show?
No, the latest one that they put up just the other night, where it's talking about the UK column and all that lot.
All right.
And he dropped a few key phrases that were stuff that many people had talked about, we had talked about, and other people had talked about. And as I put in the chat earlier this afternoon, there was a lot of slavering going on. They were basically both blowing smoke up each other's buttholes.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how that, and that's and it happened right in front of our eyes, and it's
Sorry.
And it's so funny. Funny and again sad because another one.
Sorry, I was the one on the soapbox warning everyone, but nobody had taken me on.
Is this Kip's old colleague?
Yeah, that's why I stepped back and just left them all to their own devices and hid for a while, because I could see what I was trying to point out was causing rift between them all, so I stepped back. But it's something we shouldn't be talking about on air anyway. Because the guy's not here to defend himself.
Was it you mentioned money? That's not about money.
Me? Alright, again, we had Peter, I'll let you chat that one if you want. The American guy that come on, asking about how far we went, wanted to go on, all that.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, but that's a similar outfit.
Yeah.
I think I've already spoke about that, haven't I? I think I've already had a chat about that.
Yeah.
About coming in and asking certain questions and stuff. But yeah, for me, you know, if you understand what money is, you cannot be motivated by it. It's impossible to be motivated by a fraud unless you're a fucking psychopath. I'm not a psychopath, so I'm not motivated by money. My channel's not about fucking money. It's about taking the piss, having fun with my dog, and just talking. Do you know what I mean? And if I come on stuff like this, or I make you know, I make connections with other people. That's all it's about. That's all it's about. It's about the people, and about myself as well. You know, I'm not altruistic. You know, 1,000,000%. I'm not even altruistic. Probably 10%. But yeah, it's not even about all that sort of stuff for me. And when I see channels or I see people like Mr. Veach, I need the new laptop. Right, can you give me some money? My laptop's broke, or I need some weed and I want to run about Manchester with my camera. I can do what he's doing for nothing, for zero, absolute zero, and that shit winds me up. That really does wind me up.
Well, you know, Cookie, when I was on about taking it up onto the hills and doing it live from on the hills.
Yeah.
I actually went the step further. I got the laptop today, but when I've got home, I've got it from a pawn shop, and when I've got home, the battery isn't charging, so I'm going to have to go and take that back tomorrow. But I am actually very close now to getting up there now. I've just got my rucksack today, so I'll be able to pack all my telescope into my rucksack with my tripod and just tab up onto the moors.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
And set up and just do a live broadcast from up there, up on moors.
How far away from Norwich are you, Dean?
I'm literally 10 minutes from Norwich.
You know, it's only a few minutes away from me. That, you know, on the train. If I jump on the train, it's only a couple of minutes away, Norwich.
Yeah, Norwich is actually a car.
2 stops.
Yeah, it's about 10 minutes in a car from here. Norwich, really, isn't it? That's right. It's about 10-15 minutes. So I keep thinking you can see my mates sat here and you can't see them. They're sat on the other side of the room, so they're not on camera.
Oh, I'll tell you what, how far have we gone with this hacking trial?
I've not told me. I'm not sure about what you're on about, to tell you the truth. So I'll have to let you lead.
You call that a trial?
Well, that's what it's a fucking trial. Just reading about it. That's what it is. Because it's I mentioned it in my video. It's first in, last out, or last in. Sorry, first out. That's what it is. And he's been given a bird, and the rest of them just get off scot-free. Get off scot-free. No one's talking about the police. No one's talking about the police. Nobody. Yeah, they was fucking. It was because of them that it happened. It was because of them. It was because of them that it happened, and nobody's talking about the police. Just like nobody talks about the police for anything that they cover up, whether it's Hillsborough, pedos, or fucking bent fucking journalists.
Deaths in custody.
Deaths in custody, yeah. Deaths in custody, that's just...
That is ironed under the carpet, isn't it?
I don't know, have you read that today? Do you get the evening news up near you, Dean?
I don't. I do not. I can't remember the last time I looked in a newspaper.
Well, there's a trial going on now about an assault in prison, right, where someone in the segregation unit has slashed up three prison officers. Now, the trial's on, innit? I can't even speak about certain parts of it. Right, I need to pick what I say in here. I need to pick what I'm saying. Let's put it this way. There was a lot more to it before he did what he did, right? He's saying it. He's coming out in court and saying it, right? And it's all going, no. He's full of shit. He's just a lying cunt. One of them. He's a murderer. He just wanted to murder us. Then, as soon as he did what he did, all the segregation unit is cameraed up. It's got to be, a segregation. Everything's all cameraed up, and it's all special cells and stuff like that. It was switched off for 8 hours. Right, well, he got 8 hours worth of a fucking good hiding, right? I mean, 8 hours. 8 hours later, they switched it back on, and he's saying in court, I had 8 hours of just constant, just copying for it, and they went, oh no, it broke, it broke, and I'm not that'll stand in court, that'll stand.
Makes you laugh, doesn't it? I mean, how are they going to you can't justify 8 hours of tape, can you?
Well, there's a guy near me called Martin Ferran, and he was involved in the Birmingham Six. Like, we got fitted up off the police, spent 20 odd years in the nick, right? They tried to kill him in the nick because he was trying to get his story out constantly pleading his innocence because he was innocent. They was trying to make him look like he was hanging himself and that. Do you know what I mean? Try to kill him in the neck and all that. And he's written a book about it and stuff like that. He's trying to clear his name now because West Yorkshire Police, or whoever it was, well, it might have been the Midland Police or whoever it was, just basically fitted him up. And he spent 20 years in the nick.
Wow.
20 years. It's unbelievable, that, isn't
it? Yeah. It's sad, but it's what they do, though, isn't it? I mean, he said it was a good Taliban bear and all that. So exactly.
I'm not anti-police by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not. What we need is good, bog standard, common law constables. Nothing else. That's all. That's what we need. Policy officers, just
Well, you do know that everyone can be common law constable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just need to know the common law and utilise it. Yeah. But under the common law, everybody is responsible. So it kind of, I'm not sure whether constable implies that you've sworn an oath to the Queen. Possibly it does, because the peeler oath, the oath to become a police constable and all that shit. But that's just arguing over the semantics of the terminology.
I mean, the philosophy behind just no harm, lost fraud. Can we not just crack on with that, please? And this like I've been fitted up myself. I've had personal experience of being fitted up by the police, being harassed by them, getting picked up every 2 days. It's like just basically saying, "Oh, I'm breaching my bail conditions." When I just wasn't. they had no evidence of anything whatsoever. I was fitted up to the max, and it took me to stand up in court myself and go, "I tell you what, CPS, let's go Crown now. Let's have this in front of a jury. Let's have it in front of a jury," because I knew they had nothing, and they just went like that, closed like that. They just went in court like that, closed it like that, no further evidence. I stood up like that, you had no evidence, full stop. I was in a face like that coming out of court like that, you disgusting fucking animal. Do you know what you've put me and my family through? You and your bent coppers. One of them. Honestly, they had me for about 6 months, just ruined my life. All because I exposed that they was using paedophiles as police informants. How's about that?
Yeah. Wrong handshake as well.
How's about that? And do you know where they placed these 2 police informants who were fucking child sex offenders? You know where they placed them? Right next door to a primary school. Right next door to a primary school. That's where they housed them, just because they wanted information on somebody on a certain street. So that's how they work. That's how they work sometimes, and all that's got to stop. It's all got to stop.
It's not running though, is it?
No. And do you know it's that thing? Like in the end, right? And when because of my past, when I was getting arrested, it's a fucking big deal. Right? It's a big deal. It's not like let's just knock on and everything's going to be cool. And it was because of my past and stuff. It's anyway. right? So eventually, one of the detectives got wind of the whole fucking thing, because after they exposed the paedophiles in court, right? Anyway, I got arrested for another offence, like basically on them, right? But they came with two detectives this time, two detectives in suits, and they went, "We're not going to come like we have done, like team-handed and all the rest of it with all the gear. We're not going to come like that anymore. I'm going to run this investigation." And he was all right. He was like the only one out of this whole situation who listened to what I said. And at the end of it, you won't believe what he said. You would not believe what he said in my final interview. And he went, "Right, I'm going to switch the tape off." And he went, "Right, do you know them two guys?" So I went, "Yeah, obviously." You know what I mean? Obviously, he went, "I'm not allowed to know who they are." Right? And he was one of the chief detectives or whatever. He went, "I'm not allowed to know who they are and who they work for in this building." How's about that? So I went, "Well, I'll tell you something, right? This is what I left him with." I went, "I'll tell you something. You know the names that they've got? They're not real." He went, "Oh, I know." He went, "That's what I'm saying. I'm not allowed to know their real names." I said, "There you go."
Part of the control grid. Yeah, that's been coming out much more strongly again recently, hasn't it? With the, I know that part of the reason they're pumping out the Jimmy Savile stories again is because they're trying to keep people focused on him, but at the same time, it is exposing the fact that it's. How obvious does it need to be for people that this was part of some kind of network, that was part of some kind of grid involving authorities? It had to be, like the NHS situation, it had to have some involvement from authorities. Therefore, that just opens the doorway to all the other shit, doesn't it? Yeah.
Cookie, that's. I'm glad you just mentioned just those three letters, NHS, because like whatever my past was, I tried to make up for it. So I spent 2 years being a volunteer in the NHS. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to fucking level things out, and it's close to my heart. And I seen it from the inside out, like the covert privatisation that's been going on since Thatcher. But now it's just blatant. But like to give somebody like him a psyches to a fucking morgue, or to a child coma unit, or to an adult coma unit. What's going on? And like you couldn't say no. Like somebody couldn't say no. Well, look at where he was spending Christmas. Look at who his friends were in the royal family.
Yep.
And we still pay our taxes, and the police think they have any authority over anybody ever again. After Hillsborough, after Savile, after that old guy who spent 20 years in prison, who lives around the corner from me.
And for those police constables who might be listening, at whatever grade within your career you are still a police constable when it comes down to it, because you peel her oath. You think about the obviousness of what is being shown to you here, and the fact that your oath has been sworn to somebody that is involved in that. So what does that make of your oath, and where does that then put you in terms of being an enforcer for that structure? Do you really still feel like you're doing something honourable to help your society?
And the military isn't much better, even worse. What they're doing on their foreign missions. You want to know.
It's yeah, it's bad, isn't it? It's fucking bad. It's bad.
Yeah, but it's been more and more exposed.
I'm not anti-police. I'm not, and everything I've been through, like when I could go into all sorts. Like, I'm from the inner city. I've had a bad background. I've done all sorts of things. I've fucking changed my life. I have changed my life, but I've never lost that thing of look. They're just a force. They're a force, and people in that force will do as they're told, because it's because they see it as like it's their gang, innit? they're not going to go against their gang at all.
It's a thin blue line. The thin blue line between those who consider themselves rulers and owners and the maddening horde of peasants.
It's, I don't believe they've got any authority. Well, they're not until you give it them. They're not until you give it them. But I treat every single one I meet as I meet them. And as soon as one of them just steps over that mark a tiny little bit, you know, like if anyone's educated enough to realise how to conduct yourself in front of the police, we all know how to conduct ourselves. In the past, I conducted myself terribly, fucking terribly, and then that's why I used to react in a certain way when it came, but not anymore. It's just I've got fucking, you've got nothing. You've got nothing. Absolutely nothing. I can't even speak to you because of what you've done. Because of what you've done to me. Because honestly, they ruined my life for about 6 months. It was honestly, I was getting nicked. I was getting nicked on average once a week. Some weeks, you know, if you'd average it out, some weeks it was like every 2 days. You've breached your bail conditions. Like, I've not been charged with anything, mate. You've still not charged me with anything. On the first thing, you locked me up for about 18 hours without charge. And you give me these strict bail conditions, strip me from my home. They fucked me off from my house. I had to go and live somewhere. I had to go and stay somewhere else. And then they'd still come down and arrest me, saying you've been home. Like, I've not. And like, how can I even prove it? Do you know what I mean? And how can you prove that I've been there? But no, then they want you in court. And every time I was in court, I was just like, I've not been charged with anything. Some of the magistrates were like, what's going on here? What's going on here?
Sounds very Kafka-esque.
He was after using. He was one of the magistrates on the one. He was part of it. I think he was part of it, and he wanted to use that legislation where they can lock you up without charge. And I mean, like lock you up, remand you. And if it wasn't for speaking up, he would have used it, I suppose. Because he considered what I did as a hate crime. How mad is that? Hate to what? Fucking child sex offenders. Damn right I hate them. Damn right I do. Damn right.
Part of the agenda is metamorphosing the monster.
But I think Cookie did get away with it a bit more in the inner city, you know, rather than in the suburbs.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
In the inner city, it's, you know, it's like I was saying, fucking, they don't come unless they come, you know, prepared. They don't come. I'm not saying I live in a favela, because I fucking don't.
No, I know exactly what you mean, mate.
I seen a terrible video from a favela the other night. It's some teenager getting shot 5 times off a copper. He was just stood against the wall unarmed. And he's like, the copper stood 3 feet away from him, pulls out his Glock and just shoots him 5 times in the chest. He survived it. He tried running off. He's just like, bam, bam, shooting him. And I don't know what the context was, obviously, but he wasn't armed. He wasn't armed, but he survived it. Fucking lucky kid. But anyway, I want to stop this police hate now, because I fucking love yous all, really. Love yous all, really. I'm just having a rant.
That's what Friday nights are for, man. It's just get shit off your chest, innit?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why we called it Friday Night In, you know, it's just like relax on a Friday evening, just have a general chit chat and that.
Well, here's the thing is, I haven't been tested, right, by a copper since gaining whatever knowledge it is that we all know what to do now. I've not been tested, because every copper I've met since gaining the knowledge has been really nice. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I've not had to test it or anything like that, so I think, mate, I don't know. I've not had to test it, which is a good thing. It's a fucking good thing, I suppose. I mean, cause I've not been committing crimes. Do you know what I mean? I've not been causing harm, loss, or fraud.
Absolutely. Best way, keep the lock your door stuck, man.
Oh no. Anyway, I'm gonna do what I need to do here. I'll shut up for a bit. I'm dead hyper, me, you know, normally, and that's why I do what I do. That's why I smoke ganja, because normally I'm extremely hyper.
Haven't noticed.
Hey, yeah, Peter, I didn't even know until get on this. This is gonna surprise you. Until about 5 years ago, like someone told me, right, because I had to when I was volunteering, because I couldn't use what I was using, right. I had to be straight for like 6 months when I was on something, because it was anyway, and so one of my colleagues was like, "You're really hyper." I was like, "Oh, am I? Am I?" Like, yeah. I was like, "That's why I've always smoked weed. Fucking hell, that's why." It sort of clicked.
It's easy to know we've done it, but it also keeps you thinking as well, I find.
Well, it's better than the Prozac.
Oh yeah,
Most definitely is.
I just go kind of like probably what an average person would be. You know, it sort of brings me down to like an average level.
The natural world.
You gotta eat, otherwise you pass out.
The creator. I'm not an atheist, so whatever people want to say about that, it's up to them. But the natural world created something like cannabis, and human egotism created the bullshittery big pharma system. Yeah, which would you more rely on? Something that has many thousands of years of a proven track record, or something that was invented several years ago?
Cooker, I'm glad you just said what you said, mate. It's spot on. It's spot on. Egocentrism and lies. Lies come from the ego.
Within this environment, so our bodies were symbiotically developing along with this environment. That means there's stuff within the environment that we naturally resonate with that help us exist, and one of those things is cannabis.
Yeah.
Stiducci on the left-hand side.
Well, I was when I was younger as well. I did a lot of psychedelics.
Pass it to the left. It'd be going to Steve. There you go, Steve. He's to the left of me on my screen.
Yeah, I think it's to the right. But I did a lot of psychedelics as well when I was young. Loads of LSD and mushrooms. I need to go back and revisit all that. That's going to be my midlife crisis. Fuck a motorbike. I'm just going to go back to psychedelics.
Travelling without moving.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
My midlife crisis is buying a backpack and going camping on moors.
I still return to them occasionally. Not in any kind of consistent or regular fashion, but again, and this is very relevant to the UK more than anywhere, but you find the same kind of species all over the globe in one shape or another. This is why nature seasonally gives us that fruit, because the mushroom, the fungi, is the fruit of the plant. The mycelium, the network under the ground, is the actual plant. The mushrooms that pop up above the ground are the little buds, the seed-bearing fruits. And we partake of those fruits, and again, they help us be more healthy, primarily in a psychological and spiritual fashion with those kind of substances.
It can look like trichomes, certain mushrooms. And it's another thing. I tell you what, it's an amazing thing. Nothing to do with what we're talking about. Absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about. But because I've just had a bong, I need to express this. Do you know, some of you might watch, right? I don't listen to any of his thing when he pulls out the Bible or anything like that. But I watch BP Earthwatch, right? And I don't take anything he says on anything serious, like all his doom watch shit and all that. I don't watch it for that. What I watch it for is the science part of it, and it's a bit like watching Suspicious Observers and all the rest of it, right? But he had a video where for some reason he uses these SETI cameras a lot, and I like them. Do you know what they are? The SETI cameras?
No.
You with me? Watching the sun, the SETI A and B. It's a bit like stereo A and B with the left and right cameras.
Yeah.
And one of the cameras was one of the, I think it was the A camera, so that's like it's either behind the Earth in terms of orbit. So you're watching like the sun's blocked off to the left, but you can actually see in black and white what the sun is bursting off, right? You know, the waves of whatever it is that's coming off the sun, and it was a comet. There was a comet coming, and it was CME-ing, the sun was CME-ing, and the comet looked identical as it was stripping the tail off it and all that, and it was going towards the sun. The comet looked identical to a sperm and an egg. Right? That's and is that a metaphor as well? Fuck knows. But
It's a natural world, mate.
I thought it was like really. I didn't even comment about it. But I told someone about it the other day, and he was just looking at me like it was stupid.
Fractal
there is a very popular theory out there that life is brought here by a meteor.
Panspermia.
Panspermia, yeah.
So, there you got it.
Comets.
But it's a theory.
It does. Like when you're seeing a CME coming off the sun's. It was like in black and white, and honestly, it was like just looked like a sperm chasing an egg.
John, I just said to him, have you noticed on most of his videos that he's actually zoomed in, so the timestamp isn't on the videos?
Yeah.
Things like that.
That's
Yeah.
what I say. I don't take anything he says seriously, but I just like his. I love it where he'll go from like watching the sun, and next minute he'll whip out the Bible and go to Job, fucking whatever, and that.
Yeah.
I just watch it for the comedy value more than anything else. But
Yeah,
I like
he is-
science as well. Do you know what I
He's
mean?
comical, but his voice goes through me now, because I know he's just a fear-mongering, money-grabbing
Doom
Muppet.
watcher. It's a fucking Doom watcher.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Soto has a cool app you can use. You can check the live feeds.
Soto?
Yeah, that's one of the cameras that's constantly on the sun.
Yeah, the Earth facing. Is that the
Cool.
Earth facing one?
I haven't got an idea. It's millions of miles out there.
Which one was that, Peter? Sorry?
Soto.
Oh, Soho or Soto?
Soto, I believe. S-O-T-O. Soto.
So. Is that like SETI? SETI.
Nah, SETI is something else.
Is it Soto or Soho? Because there's a Soho, I
SOTO.
know
Type
that.
it in the chat box.
SOTO. I think he just said Peter.
Yeah, 'cause I use the Soho one.
Oh, Soho. Yeah, sorry, Soho.
Yeah, S-O-H-O.
Soho gives me other...
If you go to a website called Solar Ham, he has all of them laid out on one page, so you can pick and choose which view you want to look at next.
I don't want a chance pointing my telescope, even with a filter on it at sun, because apparently it damages it. Oh, that's what I wanted to do originally, was pointing it at the sun with a filter on it, but apparently it heats your tube up and it can crack it and also damage your lens as well, apparently, from what I've been reading up on it. So I don't want to chance it with it. 'Cause I thought I'd be alright, with a filter on, not looking through it, just with a camera on it.
Yeah, but that's why you have to cover up most of the lens. And you just use the little peephole.
Yeah, we was on about this before, wasn't we, Peter?
Yeah, you have to refract less light in, so you get less. And over that you put the filter. So otherwise, indeed, you're heating it up anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I remember now. You just refreshed my memory when you said about the little hole that you just...
Yeah, you got the big cover and the little cover in one. So most of the times on those.
Yeah, I've got the big lens. Well, it's not even a lens, is it, at the front? It's got the opening. It's got a big cover on it.
Mm-hmm.
Got two little covers on side, big cover. So I could take one of them off, whichever I wanted, one side or other side of the sun.
Yeah, sometimes you can even do it when you're looking at the moon when it's full moon and you have a lot of glare. That helps too. You know.
Yeah, I've got a moon lens, so I'm hoping. I think that's going to be winter when I'm going to get.
Yeah, I would start there. It's definitely more easy and than the sun and more interesting. There's a lot more to look at.
That is my whole intention of my starting point really. The moon.
The moon.
Because like you say, it is the biggest and easiest object to get used to telescope proper.
Yeah, for proper sun watching you need proper equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it with a piece of paper and a lens, but that's not really what you want, I think.
No, it's more like seeing the sunspots and everything. Because I've got sick of actually watching other people's videos of it, even like with the telescopes and all that. I've got to a point where it's time where I need to see it myself. You know what I mean? I've just got to that stage.
Yeah, cool.
Before I started doing all this, I always had that. I was what I called myself a seer believer. If I seen it, I believed it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I've never really believed a lot of stuff people told me, unless it could be backed up. So I suppose I was already semi-conscious to what was going on, really.
Mm.
So,
yeah, to me it's like fishing, so it's an alternative to fishing. It really shuts my mind down and it really winds me down and it helps me relax and ponder beyond what's all on this small little, tiny little planet. So.
A small blue marble.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that actually gravitates me towards that, using a words. It actually gravitates me towards that as well, because it's knowing that there's all that out there to be looked at, you know what I mean? And hopefully, like I say, if I can get up there and get everything up and running, I can, while we're doing an hangout, I can bang it on like moon and or whatever I'm looking at.
All cultures, in a way, are based on it, so it's the biggest, best spectacle out there. Must be.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's the main thing that I've noticed. Everything that I've looked at, like secret societies, ancient aliens, all. You understand where I'm getting at, don't you? Everything, Egyptians, all that, it's all got moon, stars, sun, Saturn, all things like that, all mentioned. So it's obviously the major tie to everything on this planet, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Have you seen the Alex Jones cry wank over Prometheus?
No.
I saw the title of it go past.
He's done a new one. He's done a new one. Anyway, there was old ones, but he's done a new one about the new one that's coming out in 2 years' time. He's that much on it. It's 2 years away, and he's cry wanking already. Watch it. It's fucking over the top.
We've got.
1 minute. I think he called Ridley Scott one of the greatest directors of all time or something. Which is like, fucking hell, do you know what I mean? Like, he's done some blockbusters. some blockbusters.
See, I don't watch.
It's an interesting character.
I just cannot stand his voice, mate. It goes through me. It really does. It just irritates me straight away. I heard Kit mention that he was a couple of feet away from him. I was in exactly the same position down there at Bilderberg. There were too many coppers around because I just wanted hunting one.
Are you talking about Luke Rodowski, Dean?
No, sorry, no, I'm on about Alex.
Alright.
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
It was literally that far away from me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even look at him. I just don't like him. You see crowd go like that round him, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck me, just wake up, man, see what he is, what he's doing.
Did you watch the end of Sam Williams' video? about the march outside of Parliament Square and Russell Brand
No, but I heard about it.
about the slap.
Yeah, when he slapped that guy. And
Yeah,
then
that guy's been in a couple of Dom's videos, and you know, that commonly known as Dom guy's been. I think he's been in a couple of these. And he doesn't seem mentally stable. This guy who's been in his videos. Because I remember watching his video. Said I've just got out after being sectioned and all that, and he didn't look well though. But I don't know anyway. Like Russell Brand has gone fucking slap him.
As far as I remember, he was, as far as I remember, he was sectioned for saying that he was not his name.
Well,
so, you know, this is something that now is within police powers. If somebody attempts that kind of free man scenario where they'll ask for your name and you say, I'm not my name, that kind of thing, they can call the social services on you and get you sectioned for being unstable because you don't know your own name.
Oh, they must have used some sedatives on him, because when he got out, he didn't look well. Didn't look well at all. But so he was on stage preaching peace and love, and then went to slap someone. You know, when he got off the back of the stage. It's fucking.
Right.
Right. What was that slap for? Because I only seen, like, as they do, they only cut the bit out, don't they, where the slap is, and show that bit and then the back end of it. So I only seen him, like, something was said, and then his hand come out and he slapped him, and his security pulled him away, and then the police pulled the guy that he slapped away.
He'd be sectioned now if he's not give his name. He'd be locked up now through getting a slap off Russell Brand. Get a slap off Russell Brand and you get arrested for it.
I know, yeah. He's there again, he's got me seeing him on WhatsApp today. He was on with Max.
The Kaiser report.
Leprechaun.
Yeah. I forgot it's Kaiser, isn't it? Max Kaiser
report.
No, it's Leprechaun.
I didn't actually watch it, but I just saw about 3 seconds of it and turned it off because I don't like either of them. I used to watch a lot of Max Kaiser, because I used to think he was funny. And now I just find him irritating.
I don't watch that for the guests. It's all about the guests. I mean, Stacey's alright and that, but she's just. Is she seeing Max or something? I think they're together or something, I'm not sure.
Max and Stacey Herbert?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they're together or something, aren't they?
Yeah, they've been partners.
Show you get good guests on.
Look up a little clip you'll find on YouTube called Le Flic. It's in French. It's funny as fuck, right? You want to know what them two are about, you know, there you go.
What's that?
Le Flic or Le Flic?
L-E, Le, as in the, and then I think it's F-L-I-K. I'm not sure on the spelling though, but if you search Le Flic, you should probably find it. Especially if you put in the names Kaiser and Herbert as well.
Right,
yeah, it's either C or a Q.
Let's hear what Steve's got. Steve, have you got anything you want to raise? A topic or anything?
Anything want to raise? Good point, really. Yeah. I was just listening to you guys, really talking about Max Kaiser and stuff, really. And I've been watching a lot of stuff since before 9/11, really. You know, before 2000, and trying to follow stuff, and it just feels like it goes down rabbit hole after rabbit hole. I just came to the conclusion myself, there has to be another way of looking at the whole thing without searching for an answer directly from any particular source. You know, you've Alex Jones and Max Kaiser and all these people. And I'm sort of not hearing ever a solution. It seems to be trying to control people in a particular way, whether it knows it or not. You know, it's it's that aspect of the media itself not really being an answer. It's kind of controlling us. It's getting us to argue about chemtrails getting us to discuss things on the couch. You know, what the actual real answers are behind the Ukraine situation or whatever. We don't really have a great deal of leverage. So I'm asking myself, what does that information do to us on the couch? You know, what does it do between me and my girlfriend? Or, you know, when we start having arguments, domestic arguments. I mean, you guys know yourself how this information can really give you a big problem with society, because you get you get this information from Alex Jones, think, oh yeah, it must be true because he's a big source, and then you try and tell the lesser knowledgeable person, and you get the backlash. And somewhere along the line, there's what I've seen is called the wisdom of the crowds. You know, and I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of people who are debunkers or disbelieve any of this information, people we may call sheeple, but somewhere along the line, the answer has to be halfway between what we think is the ignorant side of things and what we think is the truth. You know, get delivered all of this alternative media and think that that's true. And obviously, a lot of us have got wise to the fact that the alternative media and the mainstream media seem to be just playing a game between each other most of the time. And us little folks, we get tied up in it all. You know, and it's good to be here on such a chat where we're not actually trying to decide whether something's true or false. You know, I don't think any of us really care that much about whether a news article is true or false. I think it's more sort of what the effects are, what the solutions may be. And that's really something that I've been going on about. That's what I'm passionate about for years. And it takes a lot of patience, but I think there has to be solutions. That's what we're really looking for, and not just sort of feeding off this mainstream media. You know, just to come back to the topic, really. You know, Max Kaiser, Alex Jones, and you know all of this question about media and who earns the money and how genuine. It's playing games with our minds.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And I think it's when that rabbit hole that you mentioned earlier on. I went through that process, and the further and further I went down, with hindsight, was the further and further I was getting away from myself and who I was. But I didn't even at that time. I didn't really know who I was. So I didn't.
Yeah.
I just went further and further away from myself until you get lost, and like you're saying, and then you can speak to people close to you, and it can alienate people. When you think you know something, and then when you eventually find yourself, you get back to yourself, you get yourself right, get yourself centered. You're pretty much like. I'm of the opinion with Terence McKenna, you know, like, it's all bullshit. Fucking all bullshit. Anything that's outside of yourself is pretty much like someone else's version of events. You know what I mean? Like, I'll stick to me own. I'll comment on events. You know, like is what me news thing is, I suppose. It's just I'm just passing comment and poking fun at it because I'm just like, yeah. I just try not to make it affect your relationships, like, because that's.
For me, it's been a little bit like it's been a bit like a fairground, being at a fairground, and sort of taking a kid to a fairground and seeing, oh yeah, we're going on a ghost train, and it's a ghost train, and we've got to pretend to be scared, you know. But there's also real dangers on that ghost train. Maybe the bolts are weak, or it's not maintained properly, and it is genuinely dangerous. You know, but it's like at that fairground, can you call the ghost train out for being a dangerous ride? You know, because everybody laughs and says, well, it's got to be dangerous. It's a ghost train. You know, so then you look around and notice the whole of reality is kind of this construct that you have to go with, like a fairground ride, and accept that it's like it's a dimension that we need to exist on. You know, fake money, fake laws, everything, but it's real. It has substance in the fact we all believe in it, just like the fairground ride. And so the point comes, when do you sort of get angry that the fairground ride is badly maintained and it's full of thieves and liars and has no educational value anymore?
That's when I started poking fun at it.
Yeah.
It's when you start to laugh at it.
Yeah, just laugh at it. I don't care. I don't even care about it anymore. I don't care about it. I just care about the people who I love. Yeah, that's
Anyone
it.
go? Anyone go
I think
to
one
this
of the biggest problems that I have with it
TV stage?
is there's a lot of people's lives at stake. There's a lot of people apparently die when they don't. There's a lot of situations you see on TV where there's supposed to be, we're supposed to be mourning and grieving deaths that didn't. It's a media phenomena, and as soon as you deny, there's anything that happens where people have died, apparently, then you're called disrespected. And I think to myself, well, if people are, to put it bluntly, faking death or something, I think it's a lot better to call those people out, to call the fake dead out, because the true dead are not going to exactly complain. So we've got this kind of situation where you're in instant denial, just because you question something where you're supposed to respect the dead or something. It's a terrible situation. It's kind of a sick joke.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know about you. I think we're running a little dry this evening. I think everybody's a bit burnt out. Unless anybody's got a subject you want to get off your chest before we have an early one this evening. Because like I said, I've got quite a bit to do tomorrow and I need to be up early. So if anybody wants to get anything off, quick chat about before we call it a night.
No, someone gave me a thingy before, a film. Just watch some film. I can't remember what it was called. I'm gonna have to check my messages. I'm gonna watch a film.
Just thank everyone in chat room for joining us. Thank Peter, Cookie, John, and Steve for joining me this evening.
Thanks for the invite.
You're welcome. Anytime at all. Like I say, it's an open mic Friday nights. Links always in with all of us. We all put the link underneath so you can all join anytime you want.
Yeah, people check out Steve's channel. He makes very valuable videos.
Yes.
Definitely worth watch. So
you'll get Steve's actually commented in the comment box, so if you just get on tap on his name, you know the score. Subscribe to him. Well, like I said, thank you everybody.
The same goes for John, and the same goes for Cookie, by the way, and the same goes for D. So, guys, thanks.
Thank you very much for joining us, everybody, and catch you on the next one. Good night.